So are you a first-time buyer, or you're already thinking and planning of how to buy that first property? Well, this video is for you. Yes, you. So ensure you stay glued to the screen as I will be sharing with us some tips for first-time buyers. Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. In case you're just joining me for the first time, my name is Tolu Ibitoye and I share everything property related. For those that have been here before, welcome back again. When you want to buy a property, the first thing that comes to your mind is the deposits. Now, this is where most people get it wrong, because in reality, you need more than your deposit to buy a property. So the deposit itself is just like one part of the pie. But aside that, you still need some other fees we like to call acquisition cost. Now, this essentially is the cost to acquire the property. So for you to acquire a property, when you have your deposit saved, you still need to pay your solicitor. You also need to pay your mortgage broker. And even if you're using a professional sourcer to get that property, you are also going to factor in your sourcer's fee. And these are all the things you also have to consider when saving that money to get a property. Now, if your property still needs some work done, probably light refurb, maybe you want to repaint, or you want to change some light fittings, or you just want to change the carpets, you also need to put this money into consideration and try to save it, because I doubt you would want to be living in a house that probably is yet up to your standard. So think of all you need to spend. Think of the cost you need to use to refurb it, to bring it up to your taste. Think of all the acquisition costs, the people you need to pay in order to get that property, and your deposits. And that's truly the amount you need to have before you buy your first property. Secondly, be sure of your location. And I can't stress this enough, because now I'm from Nigeria, and in Nigeria, when you're working, well, in Nigeria, there are three places majorly that are good for jobs mostly. It's either you're in Lagos, you're in Abuja, or you're in Port Harcourt. You could stay there for 10, 20 years. You would, and as long as you have a good job, you're good. Should you want to move, you are either going to move from one of those states. Probably you're moving from Lagos and you're moving to Abuja or something like that. So it's kind of very easy to commit yourself to buying a property in that particular state, because the probability of you staying there for a long time is kind of close to 100. But not necessarily the same over here in the UK. In the UK, you could have a job in Manchester, a fantastic job, and few months down the line, you have a better job offer, say in London. Now you have to move to London. But guess what? You already bought a property in Manchester. Now, are you going to be able to move? And these are the things you need to talk about, the things you need to think about before you buy a property. At the end of the day, when it comes to a property you see yourself building a family in, your kids growing up in, it's a long-term commitment, and you need to be sure of the location. The third point is your numbers. Always run your numbers properly. Ensure you are in a position that is not too stressful. Ensure you are in a position where you can easily pay your mortgage at the end of every month. Now, there is something we call good mortgage and a bad mortgage. And trust me, you don't want to have a bad mortgage. That's like a life sentence, imprisonment. And what do I mean by a bad mortgage? Any mortgage you have that you know that is a pain in the, forgive my language, but you know what I mean. It's a pain, I keep saying pain. It is a struggle for you to pay at the end of the month, or it is challenging for you to pay at the end of the month. That's a bad mortgage. When you're paying a mortgage, ensure, or when you're buying a property, ensure you work out the numbers properly. I'm always an advocate of living below your means. So for example, let's say you could afford a property of 400k. Oh, well and good, you can. But why not go for something lower, maybe a property of 300k? So just have some wiggle room or a room of flexibility. You want to be in a position when you know that the month comes and you are not even thinking about it before you pay your mortgage. And for some reason, should you lose your job down the line, you should know that probably 2 or 3 months, you should still be able to afford the mortgage. But when you put yourself in a situation when you know that once you pay your mortgage in the month, probably whatever is left is just so little, close to nothing, then that's a bad mortgage. So ensure you work your numbers. Go for a property that you know is not going to stress you, that is not going to take the life out of you, and people will see you and they're going to be like, are you all right? Are you sure you're well? Don't put yourself in that condition. But when you pay it, it shouldn't be from a place of inconvenience. It should be yes, I'm good. I can pay my mortgage and I still have enough money to do one or two other things. That's the position you should put yourself in. Also, when you're buying your first property, in as much as it is your home or it is where you plan to live, also think about the investment opportunities that come with the property. And what do I mean by that? Years down the line, maybe you have stayed in the property for some years, you might want to upgrade, maybe get something bigger, or you are leaving the country, relocating to a new country or so, or there's just a reason why you want to change properties. Now, if that property was a good investment opportunity, probably when you bought it in an area where there's a high capital growth, then you know that by the time you're selling it, you'll be making some good return on the property. So in as much as you're buying a property for yourself or a home for yourself, also have it on the backside that it should also be a good investment prospect. So it's important to look at the area when you're buying a property. Is it close to good transport links? Are there good job opportunities in the area? And the last tip for today is to ensure you inspect your property thoroughly. Now, the word is crazy out there. When you go buy a property, yes, it looks all beautiful and all good, but beyond what is on the surface, try to do a deep inspection of the property. Even if we get a surveyor there to do a level 2 or a level 3 survey of the property. Now, there's this popular story of this couple that bought a mansion in London for about 32 million. And after buying the property, they later discovered that the property was moth infested. Moths everywhere in the house. Now, luckily for them, they were able to win the case in court and the seller was asked to refund. But imagine that didn't go their way or they lost that case. Now they are stuck with a moth infested property. So I can't stress this enough. Ensure you do your inspection properly. You never know what's hidden out there. Ensure you are not stuck with a property that has structural issues or things like that. So just get the professionals. If you have no idea of what to look out for, get professionals to inspect those property carefully. And that's it. Those are some of the tips I think would definitely be helpful for every first-time buyer out there. Should you have any question about any of these, please reach out to me via the comments. And if you have other tips you would like to share with a growing audience, put that in the comment section. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next one.